everybody, and welcome to another episode of Teacher Affirmations. I am your host, David Seal. Now, when we are in a classroom, we want to do this in a school too, but provide an atmosphere where students feel okay to not know. Okay, if they make a mistake, it's not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. I mean, after all, some of the best lessons I ever learned were reflections upon mistakes I had made, and I've made a ton of them. You want an atmosphere where people feel okay about messing up, and it's not the end of the world. And sometimes if teachers don't do that, then a room can become toxic, or students can feel like they can't really try, or they don't want to answer questions out loud or go up to the board or do anything like that because they are afraid to be wrong, and they're afraid to be wrong in front of people. And so we try really, really hard to create classroom atmospheres that make it okay if you don't know everything, to make it wonderful for you to try. Just try. And that's where students start to gain confidence in themselves, and where they're able to, as they get older, identify areas where they themselves need to, where they can improve and stuff like that. What's interesting, though, is while we try to do that for students, we rarely give ourselves that same type of freedom and comfort. In fact, I can't speak for other professions. I just can't imagine that other professions have an atmosphere where the employees are just mortified if they don't appear to know exactly what they're doing the way it is in education. And that you don't know that, you have to know everything, and you have to be able to do everything right, and you don't mess up, and, no mistakes are allowed. And, if you do make a mistake, everybody's going to think I'm the worst teacher ever. Not true. We all make mistakes. And look, not only do I constantly make mistakes, but those teachers who are open to growing learn how to appreciate those mistakes. You screw up something and you go, wow, that really didn't work. Let me reflect on that. And then you get better, as opposed to, shoegazing for the next, 2 hours, listening to The Cure or whatever. So we don't give ourselves that same environment of safety that we provide for our kids. So back in my previous life, when I taught high school English, I taught 11th grade and 12th grade English. And I was at a school where the English department was, there were about 15, 16 of us, something like that. And the department head, the chair, she was also the 12th grade AP English teacher. She was really good, and we had monthly meetings, and one month it would be just business, and the other month there would be some type of professional development or learning opportunity. And I don't see it in other subject areas, but English departments, and I say this as a former English teacher, can be one of the most pretentious departments in a secondary school. The pressure to know everything, to be unbelievably, almost impossibly well-read, that you're in 10 book clubs and you have been to the grave of Edgar Allan Poe and whatever. I mean, there's this, your vocabulary, every word ever written, it's that sort of pretension to where you do feel intimidated about making mistakes or not knowing. Now, as you can imagine, I didn't really care. So when some of, my English teacher coworkers would, what book are you reading right now? It's like, well, let's see, I have a 3-year-old, so I'm reading lots of Eric Carle right now. So there you go. Sorry, I'm not in the whatever book club. Not that there's anything wrong with being in I'm not downing those. I'm just saying that there was this, in fact, I feel like a lot of people put on a show to appear more well-read and more intellectual than they really were in their personal life, or even in the way they felt about themselves as a professional. So there was a little bit of a toxic culture in regards to the safety of not knowing. And so the department head told us all for our next meeting to bring in a lesson that we had done before that had bombed. I mean, just bombed. Don't bring in one that you're still working on. Don't bring in one that you have an idea for and want some feedback. No, 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 no. This has to be one that tanked big time. That right off the bat made all of us, the response, and the group email, of course, the first response was, well, I guess none of us are going to be sharing anything then. And we all kind of chuckled along in our brains. But in reality, we were all pretty nervous about that particular department meeting. And so what she did was we had to print it out. We had it with us. And she put us in groups of 3 or 4. And we had about 3 minutes to describe the lesson and what happened. This is what I wanted to happen, and this is what actually happened. So that we could see the bombing, the carnage, if you will, of all of these doomed lessons. And then we had to take our printout of our lesson and give it to the person on our left. Went clockwise there, and we started making notes with pencil. Just here's some things that maybe you could do to, improve this some way. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes, rotate again. So by the time your own lesson got back to you, you had feedback from 3 colleagues. And instead of it being a situation where you were the only one who wasn't the expert, everybody at the table had actual, put in your hands documentation, tangible evidence that they were not perfect. And there was something about that exercise that brought down some walls. It really did. It took away this intense feeling of having to be so smart and so perfect. And it made everybody feel better about approaching each other and asking for ideas, and hey, could I borrow that? That's a great idea. Could you make a copy of that for me? I'd love to use that. Those types of things. Even, sharing lessons and stuff became a lot more prevalent because we were able to just rip down that facade of perfection, which doesn't exist. It's all for show. So I would encourage, whether it's a department, whether it's a grade level, whether you're an administrator or whether you're a grade level chair or a department head at a secondary school, try that out in your next PLC, in your next grade level or department meeting. Give that one a try. And it really will make you feel okay about not knowing. Okay, and will open some doors to not only you improving on things that you're creating, but also open doors to sharing with others and collaborating. And when you start doing that kind of stuff, you start to kind of laugh off those lessons that bomb. It's oh my gosh, boy did I stink up the place this morning. I expected the kids to do this, and instead nothing went right. And you're able just to kind of go, okay, well, back to the drawing board. We'll just have to make it better next time, without that shame, whatever, of that you get when you have to be perfect, because nobody's perfect, not even me. You know what? You guys have the most important job in the world, and I want you to remember that. Stay strong, and we'll see you next time on an episode of Teacher Affirmations.